So obviously, with that self belief coming off of an ACC championship, you also got to experience the Olympic trials, which for a lot of people, a lot of D1 athletes, that's something that they dream of doing, especially as a swimmer. How cool was it to compete at Olympic trials? And you also got to be in finals as well. So you got to see the packed crowd with everyone there. Obviously, prelims, still a lot of people, but finals is quite a bit different than prelims.
Yeah. That was actually like 24 was my second Olympic trials. The first one was in 21, back in Omaha. And that was a really interesting experience because the way that they did it, because of COVID, was split the meet up in two to have less people there. So you kind of had like wave one. And then if you were top two, you could qualify, go to wave two. So I swam wave one, qualified second to go to wave two. So I got the whole like 3 week experience. And I think that that was a great developmental thing for me. Like, one, it put me on the World Junior team or World Cup team, I guess it got switched to. And then being able to see, okay, I performed in finals at the first Olympic trials, which
Yeah.
wasn't real finals, but finals. And then watch people make the Olympic team and be in the real final the next week while I was, kind of bottom of the barrel at that point, go to the world international stage, do all that was critical for the development for 24. And I remember having a conversation with Tony Young, who's the director of Indiana Swimming at the time, or it still is. And it was kind of like, okay, you've achieved this. Now, when you go off to college, your goal is 24. We need to put you in the final. Like, you need to make the final. So, even like right after, it was like, okay, that's the next goal. How do we get there? And, I had a really successful sophomore, like March to June, and we went out to Colorado. I was training really well, probably the best training cycle even now that I've ever done. So I was really confident going into that meet that I was seated, whatever, 17th or something like that. But I knew like my best time was right in the mix for the top eight. If I just had a really good swim, it would be able to do it. And so went in the morning, and it's always something I'm nervous about because I'm just not a very good morning swimmer. Something that I'm still trying to figure out to this day. But got the job done because prelims was a little bit later. Made it into the finals, and I remember sitting in the ready room, and I have Carson Foster in front of me, Chase Kalish, like all of these super, great athletes around me. I had my ACC, um, Greg Enoch and Tommy Breed from Louisville who were right next to me. So that was a little comforting knowing that I had guys I was a little familiar with. But I remember that because before finals, they do like a little like light show and drums and things like that. I remember just the ground shaking, and I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is real, right?" Like, and then you walk out and you don't really see anything because the lights are kind of there, but you like know where you're going, sort of thing. And then you just kind of the lights all turn on, and there's 20,000 people around, and it was really neat. Especially because it was hometown for me. Like, I'm homegrown, like that was Indianapolis, and all my family was there to watch, and so I was just glad I was able to make their money's worth of actually making the final to have them be able to watch that.
Yeah, no, which is awesome, right? Like they get to experience it, you get to experience it. But sitting in that ready room with obviously, like you mentioned, Carson Foster, all those like best swimmers in the United States, are you like nervous, like when you see like you kind of I don't want to say starstruck, but like when you see those swimmers like Carson Foster that end up going to the Olympics, end up I believe at least getting a
Madeline.
yeah medaling at the Olympics. Like, is that like a little bit of like nerves, like hey, I'm going to be competing against these guys, or is it more of just like hey, like I made it with these guys, like whatever happens happens, but it's still cool to be in that same room.
Right. I mean, like, I remember talking to my coach before I went to the ready room, and he was like, "Yeah, I mean, now you've got really nothing to worry about. Like, you made the final. Like, just go out there, have fun, and remember that like this is an experience you probably won't be able to forget the rest of your life." And it definitely isn't. Like, I always swim better at night, so I wasn't really worried about dropping and things like that. Like, I knew that if I just did what I was supposed to and normally did, I would drop time. So yeah, I mean, there was no pressure. Obviously, I was nervous because it was so many people. I was like, just don't get disqualified and you get the medal, like that sort of thing. So um, there was a little nerves going on, but it wasn't like, oh, I need to make the Olympic team. Like I was very, very grateful to just be in that position.
And also, it's quite a bit different than the 21 trials that you went through with COVID. Very few people compared to 20 plus thousand in Indianapolis. First time I believe it's ever been at a football stadium. It's going to be back in Indianapolis for the 2028 games, I believe, as well. At least the trials will. Like, I've seen the videos of it and I was watching it. Like, it had to be one, unbelievable to be just sitting there watching it, but it had to be unbelievable competing in the trials, like, there was something that you've never seen before.
Yeah, of course. Now the football stadium was awesome.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, and it seems like it's has a lot of hype going around it. It's going to be back, which is obviously great. But you also, after trials, you did get the opportunity to compete at the World University Games for Team USA. How proud of a feeling was it competing for Team USA and having your name and a cap with the USA flag?
Yeah, I mean, that selection process was a little different. Because they didn't really send a US team technically through the USA swimming ranks to Chengdu. But obviously, anytime that you're able to represent your country, you take it, with the most respect and pride. So to be able to have that opportunity was really amazing. It's something that I'll never forget. Didn't race the smartest there, but um, just always a great opportunity to have the cap and be able to race for Team USA, whether it be a World Cup, whatever.